There's no longer anything that you can do that's not global. So it used to be talent would sort of look down on endorsements, and oh, I could go do that beer campaign in Italy and no one will see it. Well, there's the internet, so that doesn't work anymore.
Welcome to Celebrity Focus Insiders with your host, Rick Backrack.
Hey, so welcome to today's broadcast. You're a very lucky audience. My guest today is really an icon in our industry. She's been at it, I won't say how long. We don't want to put that bubble out there, but I will tell you that Lori Sale is a leader in our industry in the business of connecting famous people with famous brands. She is the co-founder with Jim Qualick of Artist and Brand Management Los Angeles, and she's been a senior level talent marketing expert in the business, having served previously at posts at ICM and Paradigm, Miramax, and with the Weinstein Companies. And she has pretty much seen it all and done it all from every side of the business. Lori's firm represents people like Lucy Liu, Topher Grace, Adrian Grenier, Goldie Hawn, I saw was a new client, Iris Apfel, who's a living legend, Christina Ricci, Minnie Driver, Milo Ventimiglia, so many people, it's hard to keep up with. Lori, thank you so much for being with us. And my first question is, how do you do it? You've got such a substantial client roster. How do you keep everybody happy and keep them working?
Wow, that's a huge question. I was still listening to my background, and I want to explain that the Miramax part now means something different today than it did back then. But I got good training in the business, and I think we still love it every single day. Probably more now than ever, because we really get our clients and we like to find their undeniable thing, the thing that they really love. And we love brands. I've worked with brands my entire career, in different capacities. And it's like matchmaking. It is literally like matchmaking. And you know how good it feels when you introduce someone to someone else and they connect? It feels really good. It sort of feeds your soul. So for us, it feeds our soul every single day. And I always like to say, we're the good news. When our clients get a call from us, this is the good news. It's the fun thing. It's the interesting thing. So that's what we do every day, and do it again, do it again.
How has the business changed in the past 20 or 25 years?
Yeah, a lot. So when I was at Miramax, I like to refer to it, I'm super Midwest where I'm from, and it was like shooting fish in a barrel. Brands just wanted entertainment and they wanted to get close to it, and it was easy, and that they came to you, and you just could pick out the good fish and throw the other ones back. Now, not so much. It's brands have their say of anyone and everything, and that changed from a couple of interesting reasons. The first one was the internet. There's no longer anything that you can do that's not global. So it used to be talent would sort of look down on endorsements, and oh, I could go do that beer campaign in Italy and no one will see it. Well, there's the internet, so that doesn't work anymore. So everything is seen everywhere, and it actually helps them. It's the opposite. It's relevant. It keeps them relevant, and it puts them out there in oftentimes a great way, and allows them to show their craft in a bigger way. So there's no secrets anymore. It's all global. Two other things happened. One was a couple of writers' strikes where nothing was getting created. And so talent relied on these endorsements to earn a living. So that became super important. And then now with streaming, there's like lots of content and it's everywhere and everyone's running around trying to find it. And so because of those three things, the internet, the writer's strike, and content everywhere, it's become a really important thing to talent. It's important. They want these kind of opportunities. They realize it can be a good look. You can align with something you're really excited about. It's them on camera as themselves and not playing a character that they don't really have control over other than the performance. So it's become an important, really important and desirable part of their career.
You touched on a great point, which is that everything's global now. But there was a tipping point, as you and I both know, and you referenced it earlier. You talked about talent having the ability to do things overseas and not having to worry about seeing
Right.
it here. But there
Right.
was a point, and I don't remember what year it was, but Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
And I really felt like this was kind of the line in the sand. She took on that global deal with T-Mobile, and she said, "Yeah, I'm an A-lister. I have no. I'm an actor. What's the difference?" And
Right.
she made it acceptable for big stars to do things here in the United States. And I know that had to have an impact on your practice.
Yes and no. Yes and no. The difference, there was a couple of differences. One was the difference in the fee. It was reported at the time, I didn't work on the deal, so I don't know if it's true or not true, but it was reported as it was a $10 million deal. So, there always would have been room if a brand wanted to pay talent that level of money. Not all talent liked it. Not all talent thought it was great. Not all talent thought it was a good look. And it also was a commercial. And now there's so many more things than commercials. So what we deal with every single day is, that's how we got our name, actually, artist and brand, is anything a talent can do with a brand. And that goes from a tweet to being a business partner and everything in between. It's not just a commercial. It's, show up and give a speech. It's do a social campaign. It's do a PR driven campaign. So when I said that it was like shooting fish in a barrel, there were very few people at that time talking to entertainment. It was very limited. Now brands have specialized agencies upon specialized agencies upon specialized agencies. And so we talk to all of them. So it's added some complication to it, in that the money for a celebrity at the brand level can come from 100 different places. It could be a conversation with the brand itself. It could be the brand's multicultural agency, the brand's general market agency. It could be a PR agency. It could be a placement agency. It could be a social agency. It could be the agencies that just exist just to buy talent. There's 100 different places all around that one brand to have those dialogues. So it's gotten very commoditized, which is the not good part, in my opinion. But there's still, if you're good, there's opportunity, and your talent. There's opportunity everywhere. And what we specialize in, we sort of created just a different niche. The big agencies provided this what I do as a service. It was, an add-on. If you wanted it, of course, we'll cover you in that area, but it was never their primary. For us, it's our primary and the only thing we do. So when we started signing talent, we said, you have to leave your agency just in this area. Because, here's what was happening. You have a big agency and they've got 10,000 clients, and they send a brand or a buyer that list, and it's just a bunch of names.
Right.
And that's not helpful. That doesn't help a brand who wants to do something. What we do is, I got one yesterday, which is a buyer sent me a note and said, I know this sounds bizarre, but, who do you have who's female who likes to fish? And I wrote back in 10 seconds and said, this is not bizarre at all. This is what we do literally every single day. And here's the 15 talent names who've told us they like to fish specifically. And so we send, a link to their materials and what their social footprint is, and, their information. And if there was any stories they told us about fishing, like, that's all we do. And we send that back in 5 minutes. I mean, our goal is, connect the dots. Authentically connect the dots.
Lori, that's great. And I've got a bunch more questions. We're going to take a quick break right now. For our viewers, look around your screen. You'll see a button that says subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe to these. We've got new episodes coming out every week. Lori, stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break. And we are back with Lori Sale of Artist and Brand Management. Lori, let's dive back into this. So you talked about the difference between your agency and other agencies where talent's represented. I assume you position as a commercial agent, and you've talked a little bit about what you do. What's a typical work week look like for you and Gene and your team? Who you're talking to, and how are you going about finding opportunities for your clients?
So it's a couple things. So the way that our business works is we get all the same, I call them incoming castings that every big agency gets. So it's presumably a talent buying agency, and they're looking for X, Y, and Z for their client. And, the difference is how we respond. Lots of agencies just simply send back a roster with, 10,000 names. And we, trying to get the sun out of my eyes, and we respond with very specific. Here's the specific people who've told us that they do X, Y, or Z. Here's the specific people who've told us that they like to fish. Here's the specific people who told us they drink rosé, whatever the thing is. So we respond back very specifically with an answer to their brief, with links to the client's materials, which we keep updated every single day. And our links have what they've done, what they're known for doing, what they have coming up next, what their social footprint is today in real time. Here's a link to their press kit. Here's a link to photographs. It's very, very sticky and vibrant. So we try to be super helpful to the agency that's doing the casting of here's exactly here's exactly what you asked for. Here's exactly what you need, versus here's a list of 10,000 celebrity names, go do your own work. So we do that. And that is very typical in a day to get many of those. At the same time in a day, we're going the reverse direction. XYZ talent has told us they love their dog. They want a dog food brand. We go out to all the dog food brands and say, we have this client and here's why we think they're interesting and here's what they're looking for. Is your brand interested? And can we connect the dots? So castings coming in, specificity going out, and then repeat. Same thing every single day.
And you're a commercial agent, your team are commercial agents. And yet, as we both know, talent has representation. It's a jigsaw puzzle. Yep. And I would think one of the closer parts you're working with often, aside from the talent and working directly with talent, you're also working with managers. Yeah, that's got to be an interesting dynamic.
Yes, every talent team has its own unique personality. And it's funny. Sometimes, like, I have a client who has a longtime manager and longtime publicist and longtime business manager and all of that. And all of that is fantastic. The lawyer on that team happens to be a little tough. So sometimes even when I'm talking to brands about this particular client who's wonderful, I'll even say, let me tell you about the makeup of the team, because it's important. It's more than just the talent. If you're a brand and you're doing a program, you're working with the lawyer to do the deal, the contract. You're working with the publicist if there's PR involved. You're working with the business manager to get the bills paid. You as a brand and an agency have access to all of that same team also. So everyone has a very different personality, and we use that as we represent our clients, because I think that the team is equally as important. At the end of the day, how are you going to measure success on what brand you are? You're going to say, did I cut through? Did I grow my business? Did I get press? Did my customers like it? How was the whole experience? Was it pleasant? All those are factors too, besides the talent that you like.
And it's important that everybody's on the same page.
It is.
Sometimes you'll get oars that aren't all going in the same direction, and it can make deal making challenging.
Yes. We think those things through before, because we think it's part of what the brand is deciding to buy and align with. And oftentimes, it's not my first rodeo, so we know where the pain points can be. And one of the things we've done in the last few years, which has been very, very successful, is if it's a campaign that has PR as part of it, and I mean PR not just to prove a press release, but dialogue where the talent is going to do a press day, talk about the campaign, and that creates a lot of work for a talent publicist. So we know that in advance, and when we're doing the deal, we say, please pull aside some dollars, and you're going to use those dollars to hire the talent's publicist to work for you, because if they work for you, they're going to make you happy. And they are also, the talent isn't hiring their publicist to run commercial campaigns. That's not why a talent has a publicist in the first place. So we put a lot of stress on the system, and so we've changed that and reverse engineered a better way. And that has worked really, really well. The publicists are very engaged and lean into the brand. We stay on the whole way through and watch it, because we're making sure the talent is happy, the publicist is happy, the brand is happy. We want to make sure we're seeing everybody get what they need. Same with social media. Social media has become a really huge part of every single deal. So we know that, and we prepare for it, and we know how our talent handle their social media. We also know our older talent, it's not always as easy, so my older talent being my 101-year-old client. So, who has very vibrant social media, but we have somebody who posts for her to make sure it gets done when it needs to get done and how it needs to get done.
You've already touched on some of these things, but what are some trends that you're seeing now? For a while, we saw a ton of influx of pharma, and that continues to be strong. But what are some of the other more recent trends of opportunity that you see going on every day?
I think it's not a trend. It's just the most important thing from minute one is authenticity. It needs to be something the talent cares about more than just the dollars. Let's just try to move myself out of my sun. There we go. We took a move to this. The sun is.
Yeah, that's good. That worked.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think authenticity is the most important thing. And I think what brands miss is the dialogue about authenticity and why this person versus that person. And I think, we're human beings and we're fans, and we always want, I love that person. I love them in XYZ movie. But if the talent doesn't give a shit, can I say that? If the talent doesn't give a shit about your product.
You can say whatever you want.
If the talent doesn't care about the product and the talent doesn't have an authentic story to tell, then the consumers are going to feel it. So I think it's really important. Like I have somebody for a speaking engagement right now, and I'm watching the process on the buying side, and they're looking for names, and this is clearly who the buyer likes and is a fan of, and is not necessarily a good speaker, and is not necessarily going to do well. And so I'm just waiting for them to troll through all those offers. They're going to come back, and they're ultimately going to hire the person that I have who is absolutely the right person for this project. It'll happen. I just have to let the fandom settle down, because you can see, oh, the CEO likes this person. Well, the CEO liked her last movie, So it's kind of funny. Every deal is very different. And to me, that's what makes it interesting. But I think authenticity, it's not a trend. It's the very first most important thing and that people aren't doing. The other trends we see, everything is, I like to say everything comes and goes. There's a minute where everybody wants a chef, and then everybody wants a model, and then everybody wants a TikToker, and then everybody wants a whatever, and then everybody wants an influencer. And brands will say, well, who are your influencers? And I'll say, actually, my entire roster. But the reality is not only are they influencers, they also are mediable. So yes, you can hire somebody who's got a huge social footprint, and that should be your distribution channel, but not the person who's on the camera, because that person can't necessarily get you press as well. So we think celebrity is always constant. There will always be fans who like the celebrity. There will always be media who want to cover the celebrity. There will always be people who instantly know who that person is. They may not know their name, but they know their face. And that's constant. And that's the lane we play in, because we watch the chefs and the fashion models and all those people come and go. And brands are just funny. One does one and then 50 want it. And so they do one too.
Lori, this has been great. And unfortunately, I have, I don't know, a dozen more questions. We're going to have to save that for volume 2 next time we do this. I hope you had a good time today.
Yeah. Talk about this anytime.
Well, and we so often do.
Number 2, just call me. We'll talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. For our viewers, I'll remind everybody again, I don't know where it is, but look around, find that subscribe button, join us and watch our future broadcasts as well. Our guest today has been Lori Sale of Artist and Brand Management. Thank you so much for being here. And for the rest of you, we'll see you next week with another episode of Celebrity Focus Insiders.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Celebrity Focus Insiders, connecting famous people with famous brands. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date and check out our past episodes at celebrityfocus.com.